Hi everyone, it's Sean from Pulse Markets. Here we're in Vietnam, in Hai Phong, I believe, just south of Hanoi. As you know, we raised some money for the Tungsten Metals Group a couple of months ago for their convertible note issue. We're now looking at doing a pre-IPO and listing the share next year. We're just doing some field work at the moment, just having a look at the facility, just making sure it's all legit, it's all real. We've been with the Vietnamese team today, had a lovely lunch on site where we are now. That's the factory behind me. We've also got senior management from Sydney. We've got Executive Chair Tony Adcock and Martin, the CEO, with us at the moment. And what we're going to do is also meet George Chen, who actually runs the processing plant. We've got a lot of footage, which you've obviously seen the photos of now. This is complex. This site was built quite some time ago, and we'll get a little bit more information as to what's actually gone into this building. But it is established, it is real, it is just sensational. The tungsten lining that lines the kiln was worth about $3 million US. We've seen that, that's there. And what we'll do is we'll speak to the Executive Chair, Tony Adcock, now, and we'll just ask him a few questions about the actual facility. So thanks for bringing us here. It's good to speak with you. Can you just tell us a little bit more about this plant and where the company's up to now with this current facility, please?
So TMG is one of the largest, most efficient plants outside of China and Russia. We're located in Binh Bao, which is about 40 minutes outside of Hai Phong in northern Vietnam. We've been here since April 2013 and been in production in that period. We believe that we have the advantage of being outside of Russia and China from a supply chain and de-risking supply chain perspective. So we think we're in the right place at the right time.
Okay, Tony, thank you. Could you let us know how much it actually cost to construct back in 2013 and actually what you think it would have cost to construct now? Bear in mind that tungsten's obviously gone up and we've got that $3 million lining, which is sitting in the kiln there now.
So if somebody was recreating this plant today, it would probably take them close to 2 years to build. What they wouldn't have would be the design plans that we had. And when this plant was built, it was modelled on the most efficient plant in China. George Chen, our vice president or president in Vietnam, was the instigator of building the plant outside of China in the same design as we have, as they had in China. So we are the most efficient plant outside of China and Russia today. So TMG is efficient in many ways, but one of the things that we promote and show is that we are producers of very high quality FeW or tungsten, and that high quality has gained us a reputation around the globe for being that. Within the International Tungsten Association, for example, we're considered very highly for the quality of tungsten we produce. At a recent conference in Brussels, for example, many people said not only we're glad to see you back in business and in production, but also we're glad to see that George Chen is still the president and running the business. I might say at this point that George Chen has a fantastic reputation in the international tungsten market, and as a company we're very lucky to have him on board running this production plant.
Okay, we keep hearing this critical metal tungsten everywhere. How does the Tungsten Metals Group actually generate revenue from the factory that's just here?
The way we create value for our shareholders is really to drive revenues based on taking tungsten concentrate, taking concentrate from different parts of the world, bringing it to our factory through the port of Hai Phong, taking it into the plant and producing very high quality FeW over a period of production run of maybe 2 or 3 weeks. We're able to produce about 4,000 tons a year at top production with the current production line, but I think in the first 12 months we'll be producing something like 1,200 and scale it up. So 1,200 is approximately 4 to 5 production runs in a 12-month period.
Okay, that's great. We've got the current kiln as you've just described. Are there any other opportunities that the company has to make money in the future?
Well, Sean, you've seen the size of the plant. You can see from the sheds here that we've got capacity to put either another 1 or 2 furnaces in, or capacity to put another production plant in alongside of the current one. So the scalability is there. The operability is there in terms of the quality of people we've got. I look at the people, they've been here for all 14 years, totally loyal to George Chen, totally loyal to the company, and I might comment on that a little bit further around our involvement in the community. Yes. So, Sean, our strategic focus is really to work downstream rather than upstream. You know, we don't own a mine, but we have good relationships with those that do, and so we can source the concentrate from all the correct places in the world that we can deal with. There are clearly some countries we won't deal with, and that's inevitable in this business world. And we bring the concentrate here to Haiphong and run from there.
Okay, thanks, Tony. I know as a broker or investment advisor, when I come here, I want to make sure that my investors and my money's going to somewhere which is actually real and tangible. But what does a chairman of an ASX listed company do when he comes to Haiphong in Vietnam to a plant like this?
I think as chairman and any of our leadership team, we have to be visible leaders. We have to walk around the plant. We have to talk to people. So my intent always is to go around the plant with either George and Martin or just George, talk about the things that keep them awake at night, talk to all the staff, talk to the production leaders and so on, so they can relate to us as Australians, you know, as an Australian company, to realise that we're here for the long-term relationship. We're visible as leaders. We walk around the plant, we get to know people. It's a family. We get to know their families, you know, and therefore that encourages us to put more back into the community. Most of the workers come from the local Vinbao community. A few commute from Haiphong, but some of them have got married here. Some of them have had their kids here. So one of the things that I'm keen on is to re-establish that long-term relationship. Doing business in Asia requires us to do that. It requires trust to be built up, and I think dealing with George, I found him to be a very trustworthy president of the local plant. One of the things we'll do early next year is get more engaged in the community through sponsorship of family picnic days, the local soccer team, all of those sorts of things, which is what the company was doing in 2014 when it really got cracking. So in 2023, that's what we'll be doing.
Thanks, Tony. That was great. Really appreciate that. What we'll do now is we'll meet the CEO, Martin Quaid, and we'll ask him some questions about the facility as well.
Yes, so Sean, I'm delighted that you and Boyd took the time out from your busy days in Sydney and Melbourne. You've now been able to walk the talk, see the plants, see George, meet the people, meet the head of HR and accounting, but just walk through the process yourself with, I believe, some highly visible demonstrations of what I call the Formula One approach to taking the concentrate out and as FEW. So I'd like to thank you for coming up here. I think by doing so you've got the ability now to talk to current and future investors around the plant itself and the growth we've potentially got to add value to shareholder money. So I'm really pleased that you've joined us up here, so thank you very much indeed.